I'm Linda Vorbach. I'm a dairy farmer. I've been through a journey in the last 5 years. It's been kind of a crash course in surrendering my life to the Lord. I went through some difficult situations when I was younger. They've conditioned my mind to think in certain ways that now I look back on it and I know that they were not God's ways. Basically, most of the time I felt it growing up, I felt fear, confusion, frustrated. I would hold grudges. I'd be angry all the time. People who hurt me so bad that I would say hate myself, but I felt I had this sense of worthlessness. And when you go through that, it just seems as though you carry a certain attitude and demeanor that when you meet different people, you're like, well, being a farmer, you're the injured chicken in the barnyard, and everybody kind of comes and dumps on you. And you allow it because you don't feel like you deserve anything better. You don't deserve anything good. And it was a horrible way of living. It was really lonely. I did back in about my early to mid-teens, considered suicide because it got so bad. And the loneliness was horrible. I was the last one out of the 5 children to get married. We ended with children, ended up living on the farm. We've bought the dairy farm from his grandfather, and we've been living there since for probably over 20 years because we were not church-going people. I didn't go to Sunday school growing up, so Jesus was just a name. I didn't know much about him. I didn't know about Holy Spirit. I didn't know about, we prayed when we went to other family events because they were going to church, but we didn't. So when you didn't have anywhere to go with your frustrations, it builds up and you harbor anger in that. And I held on to that for years. One day I think I just came to the end of myself. I had frustrations and living on the farm, finances and how things were being run. It's just really started to bug me. I started to come to church more frequently, listening to Randy, and his sermons seem every Sunday were really hitting home for me. And it made me start to think differently, which is the first thing you do as a farmer. You plant a seed and it grows. Finally came to, as I say, the end of myself, and most of my prayers were, okay, God, if you want to do this, I'm willing. But one day I just really put my hands in the air and I said, okay, God, I'm ready. I'm ready for change. Whatever you want to do, I'm there. I had my hands up in the air and I said, if you think I'm ready, let's go. And I said it like I meant it. This was a from the depth of my soul prayer. And within 2 weeks, the barn collapsed. At that night, there was someone that I know that was having a relationship problem. They were in a relationship for quite some years, and it seemed like it was coming to an end. They weren't the ones who wanted to end it. And I was on the phone with them until about 12:30 in the morning. And I finally was able to get to sleep. And 3 o'clock in the morning, I just heard this like a rush. And I thought somebody had an accident. Mark thought the tree fell over and hit the barn. My son looked out the window and said it was the barn because he could see the electric wires that were across the road were swinging. When we went out, there was electrical cable was running across the road. The side of the barn fell down. It was sitting on the back of my pickup. Then Mark and Aaron went in with their flashlights because the electric was out because the pole was all knocked down, and to look inside and here the cement floor had collapsed. And in here they said it was on top of cows. They were trapped because they were hollering, and there were some that were dead. And that at that time I realized it was a lot worse. And I just started to shake. And I found a tree to hang on to and started throwing up. And then it took me a little bit of walking around and just breathing and saying, okay, the Lord has this, the Lord has this. I finally have been in a place in my life when I'm taking these situations and turning them over to the Lord. My prayers have turned to praise, not a laundry list of problems. He already knows what I'm going through. I don't have to tell him. He knows that. And I know he knows all the good things he is too, but it's a way to help me remind myself that God is in control. He created the whole universe. He created me. He loves me. I am unique as an individual, and I'm special to him and precious. And it's been, wow, the word for it is just phenomenal. The weight that comes off your shoulders, I can talk to people differently. I smile more to them. I mean, I talk to them, not at them. I used to be, when somebody would talk to me, I was thinking, when are you going to go away? And now I look forward to being able to talk to people a little too much sometimes. I can talk a blue streak. As Randy says, I have a lot to say because I've kept it in for so many years. But if I could ever say anything to encourage other people, one, this isn't a sermon that I'm doing. This is a testimony to what I went through in my life. And this is what we're supposed to do. And the whole Bible is testaments. I mean, we never saw any of this stuff that happened, but we believe it because other people told us what they saw. And people today need to hear your story and turn it into a testament, because at the end you have to say, but God turned this around for me. He had to do it. I couldn't have done it on my own. There is no way I can do any of this on my own. I couldn't have done any of it without God.